Welcome everyone to the Behavior Code. My name is Yogi Chris, PhD, and this is also going to be part of a lecture series that I'm calling The Philosophy of Love. And I've done another part. I'll do a few more parts. It's part of the Silent Flute training program, so you won't get any more of this, I don't think, on Behavior Code unless I do it again next week, but I don't think I will. And instead, you're getting one of these lectures. It's a free lecture. It's a synthesis of a boot camp training that I did and applying it with my own life. I'm just going to, kind of riff on it. In reintegrating and then reintegrating the teachings, I wanted to connect all the dots for myself, in my voice, for you all, and give you some tremendous value, hopefully, by the end of this. I think there's tremendous value in this. And okay, so let's put the notes here right next to the recording so it's easy. And let me know what you think about this. This is not, I don't typically stream on this kind of information, so if you should feel compelled to comment throughout, we got people live on all the platforms, then do that. If you're catching the recording of this later on YouTube or podcasting platform, then let me know what you think about it. Okay, so I'm kind of picking up where I just left off in my Silent Flute lecture, just on this idea. There'll be two main ideas that you'll hear me reiterate if you were just on the Silent Flute. One is that the AM rituals, the antimeridiem, what the normies call morning, the morning rituals, integrate the instrument into the day. That you must, because in a relationship, you're going to be touching each other's bruises. In a loving relationship, you'll be touching each other's childhood traumas, whatever didn't go right, some more or less extent. And you don't even know it. The other person is reacting on the inside. They don't know it. Then you're picking up their reactions. You react in a way. And it becomes this cascade of reactions back and forth that blows up into a fight or an argument. The morning rituals are essential. This happens in any relationship. Now, you can idealize and say, well, President Trump and Melania Trump, they said they've never had a fight. Whatever. They are marketing geniuses, and he made himself so rich off of knowing how to communicate. That's a fine communication. I think it's unreasonable. But even if they have, I mean, maybe it is reasonable. Maybe that's what it is. It's the ultimate reasonable relationship, no fights. Okay, until then, I feel the passion is there, but what's essential is that the mind and the past does not get in the way. And to do that, you must have daily rituals, and the AM rituals integrate the instrument for the day, because you were washing yourself in the subconscious. So you need this for stability, stable communication with your person. Okay. So moving on. People don't know anything about me until I post. This idea of posting on social media, I think, is very integral to relationships. You as a man are a threat, and she should see how you interact with the world. She should see it out in the real world, and she should see what your ideas are behind closed doors. Some men don't rely on social media for their income. I sort of do. That's sort of where I could always start over. It's not a problem. But I get most of my income from social media, the rest of it, internet. And whenever all the lockdown ends and I start booking yoga events again, if I decide that I want to do that some more, then, they'll be in person or whatever. So when you post on social media, there is a social proof to that. And there's a vetting of your ideas. You have some audience. When it comes to male-female dynamics, and I'm talking about like men want multiple women, that a man is not fulfilled. You know what fulfills a woman? Safety, security for life, a loving relationship that she feels appreciated. And her emotions cared for. She has freedom to create, and maybe even has a kid if she wants a kid. She's free but safe. That's what she wants. It's fulfilling. That's not what he wants. He does, but he wants the freedom of going after many women and the safety of not losing his relationship when he does that. That's what he wants. So he wants freedom and safety, but it's different because the world is not dangerous to a man like it is to a woman. And you could say the patriarchy is why he's more free, but he's more free because it's less dangerous for him. And he's more expendable. So it's not only less dangerous for him, he's more expendable. That's why more freedoms and more expectations also, more sacrifice. That's why men, the suicide rate so high, and the men in risky, life-threatening jobs so high. War veterans, men. The jobs, you just look at the extremes and you'll see the gender roles. And the middle gets blurry, and that's where suffering happens, is a blurry consciousness, blurry understandings. They've tried to erase the the male female for a neutral middle that's basically impotent and self-controlling herd of sheep, asexual sheep, or agender, gender neutral sheep. Okay, so people don't know anything about you until you post. So I'm saying these things, so I probably just lost some audience, right? Because of these things. But that's important. You put that out in the beginning. When you put it out, you get a lot of gruff and pushback. They don't know. When you put out about your relationships and what your relationship means to you, the heaviness, the intensity of what it is between you and the person, then you're going to get some pushback. Guys, you're going to get some pushback because girls were looking at you to be different. They were really crushing on you. That's why they were following you, liking you, commenting on your stuff. They're interacting with your Facebook because they're interested in you, or they're learning from you, which is the beginning of interest for some women. Some women think they have like a right to like a man's knowledge without an exchange. There's always an exchange, and the exchange of a female is different from the exchange of a male. But money is gender neutral if you want to go that route. So let's see. Social media, until you post. We could go more and more into social media, the philosophy of love and what you're putting out there, your exchange with the world. There's a reason why he's following you, and there's a reason why she's interacting. If she starts hating on your post because you put out what your ideas about relationships are, she was interested, or she was interested in controlling you. She was interested in monitoring and policing you because she got the false aim somewhere along in life that's what her role was. Her role was to police men, police their ideas, police the world for the toxic man. Okay, Miss Police Officer, how happy are you in your relationship? Oh, my relationship with the self is perfect. I mean, I love myself. But yeah, but if you love yourself so much, what's the love outside of you? What does he look like? What's he do? He's a chump. And if he's not a chump, he's a chump compared to you. You're dating a lesser man because only a lesser man would listen to his woman say those things. No. I don't know how long the charge will last here. If it gets to 10%, then I'll do more. I'll plug it into this nifty portable battery. Okay. So you post on social. Females, if you're getting haters, they're interested in controlling you. And if they're guys, they want to get with you. And every guy knows this. I have guys that send me screenshots. I don't know why. I'm not a dating coach. Like, I study this stuff, but I'm not a dating coach. I don't teach guys how to date. I just talk about my understandings of the stuff because it's so fucking fascinating. When I look back on my early relationships with women, I understand why I'm so fascinated by this stuff. Because the not understanding or the misunderstanding, missing it, is frustrating when you think she's going to be a certain way. The surprise shouldn't be that surprising. And part of it is the betrayal. The betrayal is to be expected. You should expect a betrayal from a female. You should expect the lying from the female. And you can also have higher expectations of her, and you should of your woman. You should have, think of her as loyal. Think of her as honest. And think of every time that she doesn't exhibit those things, it was because of fear. She was afraid of damage or harm. That's why the human lies. That's why the man shouldn't lie, because that means he's afraid of damage or harm. And what kind of man is your protector if he's afraid of damage or harm? I mean, assess, be smart. 10-foot Anunnaki's coming towards me. We're going the other way, honey. I'm not going into that. But maybe not. Maybe I would go into it. I don't know. Okay. So moving on. So I could go more and more into social. If you guys want more of that, go ahead and comment of ideas about that. So this one has been the theme in my this relationship. The relationship that I've been cultivating since my law of attraction statement on the end of December, when I said I was going to invite this girl to live with me. It was a girl that I barely knew, just some phone calls, talking, and very little interacting. And I got her to live with me in Houston. And that's amazing because she's worth it. She's that girl that you all would go for. She's that girl that you guys that send me screenshots about, what your pickup is going like and what you said to her, what you should say back. You remind me so much of myself. And it's amazing because I look back and I see that you are going for the girl that's unavailable, or you're going for her in a way that's too direct. You're going for the girl that has a boyfriend, that's married, that you think is unhappy. You've had success there before with girls that are cheating, but what you're going for, remember, like I said in the last lecture, like what the images you have in your mind, you recreate those. If you're going for the unavailable woman, even if you get her, you will become the man that she's unavailable for in the future. And when the next guy does that, you recreate those things. Go for the woman that wants to be with you. And when she doesn't want to be with you, don't go for her. Now you can adapt and mold who you are to try to get those reactions out of her. You want to seduce her. So that means lead her mind. It doesn't mean she's already into you. Seducing a woman doesn't mean she's already crushing on you, wanting you, this or that. Seducing a woman is leading her to more pleasure. And pleasure can be on all different spectrums, current, like present time, sense pleasure, all the way to pleasure of the idea of how you're going to walk into the forest together alone, to die together, to, whatever, if that brought you, with all of your spiritual family following you, watching on your property. Who knows, maybe even naked. You walk naked into the forest. If you were healthy, like a yogi, healthy and well enough that on the day of your death, you were still able to walk around, right? That's pretty cool to be able to do that. Okay. So, just be their friends. This is the theme, is just be their friends. About 5 or 6 days out of the month, she'll be horny. And the rest, be their friends. I've made the mistake of emphasizing sex too much and forgetting the friendship sometimes. That the friendship is, you keep coming back to the friendship. The relationship keeps growing as you come back to friends. The opening originated with friendship. And ultimately, if you're a man going for multiple relationships with women, you're going to need to be friends with a lot of women. It's not going to be you have like 2 girlfriends and then all the other women hate you. You have friends, girls that are friends. Now, girls, women, you should know that no guy is your friend that's not trying to get with you. There is no friend that's a guy that's not trying to, or he's using you in some other way, either business or you have pretty friends or something. But a man's standards are pretty low when it comes to casual sex. So he's definitely trying to get with, for sure. If he's a guy, he's trying to get, even if he's gay, chances are he's trying to get with you. He would. It's just the opportunity was there. It needs to be convenient where he doesn't defame himself, doesn't ruin his reputation. The gay man is very concerned about his reputation. Straight men aren't concerned enough about it. They don't think about their rep enough. That's why you get the pickup artist that goes after girl after girl after girl, not realizing you create a rep for yourself locally. And so you got to keep moving on, or what are you going to do? That's why I say, okay, I need to plug this phone in. That's why I say I don't pick up girls. I pick up relationships. And you might say, well, Chris, you don't have multiple girlfriends. You're right. It's also lockdown. But that's fine. I'm on my path. And I pick up girls always through the frame of a relationship because I'm on my purpose. And I'm looking through the lens of how does what I'm doing relate to my purpose. And if a fling is in the order for my purpose, then I'll go for the fling. If it's practice, I reason it to myself. It all has to make sense. I don't do it because it feels right. She does it because it feels right. He does it because it makes sense. That's why she should mate with him for long term, because he can make sense of things. And if he can make sense of things, he's going to do better at life than you. And you're always going to be relying on men on some level. You're going to be relying on family. You're going to be relying on, quote, friends that want to get with you. Over time, you will get with some of them. But you're spreading yourself thin and making yourself less and less desirable to a man that really wants to take care of you. So it's a shame that for all of your life, the world has conditioned you to think differently as a woman, that you should value your purpose and your path, and that men are equal to you and you are equal to men. And you're not equal. It doesn't mean you're less. It just means you're different. You can't be equal if you're different. You reason that to me. How are men and women different, but they're equal? Any feminist is going to say, wait, so you think men and women are exactly the same? Well, they're the same. And you're like, they'll go into like basically rights, like they should have the same rights. And arguably, I would even argue that they shouldn't, but it doesn't matter. If you give everyone the same rights, you still need to be pushing good relationships, because good relationships will solve that. What you'll have is probably a lot of households. I think that's a shame. That's a shame if a man and woman are living together as partner, man and wife or whatever, and they vote differently. Like maybe on small things that were like, but on any big decision, if they voted differently, what is going on? Why are different values? I mean, how important is that value? That's going to be a conflict when it comes to raising your kids. And if it's not important, then it's not important, you know, whatever. But those important things, you can imagine like a Democrat or a Republican being in the same house, or not that that even matters, but they're voting. If one wanted to vote for Hillary and the other for Trump, no, that would never happen, of course. But if it did, what if one was hiding that they did that? That's a lie, right? That's cheating. Lying is cheating. Watch something that you just love to watch just for entertainment. This is something that I've also been integrating. You know, it's all part of the path or purpose, but watching something just for its entertainment value gives you that reference of entertainment again, and keep reconnecting with that. Now we could keep regressing, and I will in the Silent Flute regress to old childhood and what were you watching and blah, blah, blah. But blah, blah, blah is kind of slurring there. But watching something for entertainment, get that reference for pleasure, because it's very important when you apply it to this thing, the argument, it's amazing. The relationships, there are so many arguments, and it needs to be, because it's such an intimate pair bond for your life, your resources, for her resource, and for him, his resources. And, you know, things got to get talked out and handled. And unfortunately, as it seems, anytime something needs to be talked about in the relationship, it's usually a negative thing. That's why you need to talk about it. And so you end up handling all these negative things in your relationship. Meanwhile, all the other guys are trying to please you. So you end up looking at your guy as, every time we need to talk, it's something negative. And all the other guys are giving me pleasant communications. They don't need to talk. So you as a man in a relationship need to balance. And that's kind of what the seducer is doing, is especially if you're preying on girls that have boyfriends or husbands, is you're preying on the fact that their husbands are handling life with them. And so there's a lot of negativity involved in that, and a lot of and they're probably terrible communicators. And you come in as a person that's always pleasant, always, you know, or more pleasant. You're not so weighed down by the chains of her negativity that she complains so much about life, because that's her nature. Her nature is to complain to get what she needs. Her nature is also to seduce. Seduction is a feminine quality. So the female gets what she needs by complaining or seducing from the male. She can provide it for herself, but like I said in my Instagram post, women can take care of themselves, but God or nature or whatever you believe in created man to take care of her. So she can do it herself, but that's also like he can, you know, jack off with his hand. He can get off, but it doesn't, what is that doing? You know, he can also get with other guys, or get with really ugly girls, or just move on up. But if he never commits, then there's something that's not pushing life forward. And so why would that be in the code to do that? That's an abnormality. That's part of the matrix. They've conditioned you. They've miseducated you off of the aims. Real aims. His aim is purpose. Her aim is relationship. His aim is purpose. Her aim is relationship. His aim can't be relationship, because how is he going to provide if he's, well, how is the relationship providing for itself? If you, let's say I was a coach and I had a relationship and I was teaching people based on my relationship, like she was here, we were teaching, like, so the relationship was somehow feeding itself, but then you would end up having like a fake relationship where they would stay together just for the sake of the coaching, you know, their survival, like that, which is fine. I mean, I think that would actually be kind of cool, but his purpose is his priority. Her purpose is her relationship. And this is just an ideal. It's an ideal, and it's my philosophy that I've gleaned from Arash and Vince, and it works. It's a solution to relationships. This is the solution to the problems. Now, we are all wounded and damaged humans. So when we try to interact on more and more intimate levels and find the balance of life, complications come up. This comes back to my lecture just a moment ago in the silent flute. The stoicism and having control of your emotions. Emotions get the fuck in the way. They get in the way of the clear, positive communication with your positive intentions, your upbringing, and everything. So, let's see. The argument is inevitable, and no one is winning over the other. The argument can't be a win over the other person. I have to keep in mind her experience. I keep in mind her experience. She should keep in mind his experience. You keep in mind each other's experience because it needs to be a win for both people. The resolution of the argument is not one person beats the other. The resolution of the argument is both people win. If one person beats the other, it worsens the relationship. One feels like a loser, the other is not picking up the other person. And a lot of times it's going to fall on the man because she is being unreasonable about what she's thinking or saying, her opinions. And you're trying to be reasonable, but you're trying to beat her. You do want to beat her, but you want to beat her in a way that makes her feel good that she comes up. So it's a win for her because the win is the more positive emotion. She has her ideas because that's resolved her emotions somewhat on some subject. So bring her up with positive experience. What is this? I already read this quote. A woman needs a man to protect her and take care of her. She can do that herself, but God made the man to protect her. People judge me, and there's people that don't like me, and I'm okay with that because it comes with fame and power. It comes with fame and power. And you would think it's going to be so many, why are there so many haters? I don't seem to have so many supporters. It's because the haters are loud. They're a lot louder. And you don't realize how many men agree with you. If you're a man listening to what I'm saying right now, how many men agree? Go ahead. Let me know. You agree. Because a lot of men are so controlled and they're so afraid of their women, the people around them, is they wouldn't even admit it. But if you gave them the questionnaire, would they want to be with multiple women if there was no negative consequences for it? Definitely. If you ask that to women, would you want to be with multiple men if there were no negative consequences except you might get pregnant? Well, what if there's contraception? Well, that definitely increases promiscuity. If you want to just go natural is he doesn't have to take care of the baby. Natural is you might get pregnant. There's no law that says he has to take care of the baby in nature. Now, get more modern, last tens of thousands of years, and there would be some cultural pressure to do that unless he went into a village and raped women or something. So there is a little bit of that pressure. But if she's sleeping around, how is she going to prove who the dad is? Up until 50 years ago. So in that case, she's going to get pregnant eventually, unless she can't, but that's rare. So she's going to get pregnant eventually, and she's not going to be able to prove who it is. So she'll rope a guy into doing it, or no guy will do it. And then she can get pity pay for the rest of her life for raising a kid as a single mom, or which is like welfare or something like that. And I just made that term up, pity pay. It's pretty cool, actually. Or she'll get a man to take care of her. So you got to select the man and use the lens of, would this man provide and protect for my children? And men, you need to look at, would she be a good mother? Would you want her to be a good mother? So so the men who disagree with me are trying to get with her. The only men that disagree, there it is. The only men that disagree with these things are the men that are trying to get with some woman in your circle. There's somewhere they have the idea that by disagreeing with you and saying and believing that men just want one woman, they can commit to one woman for the rest of their life and they can be fulfilled. By saying that, they think it gets them closer to the woman that they want. And it does if there's no better options for her. The primary role of you as a mating machine is to be her best option. So you can ask yourself, how can I be her best option? The woman you're trying to get with. The woman that you're trying to get with you, that you're trying to get with you. How can I be your best option? Okay, moving on. Are you guys liking this? I don't see any comments or anything. We got Megan. Tony, Michael, DC. Oh, we do have comments here. Let's see, DC, more social, DC. They vote differently. That makes this pretty clear. Yeah. Michelle Costa. I was practicing my texting and was trying to seduce a feminist. Is this Michelle or Michael? I don't know who this person is. Oh, Michael. Sorry, it's spelled, I think, Canadian. Okay. I was practicing my texting, was trying to seduce a feminist. I was mind fucking her with her beliefs, and I truly believe they all want a man to be with. Nice. Good practice. Just, and then we practice nonviolence because, I don't intentionally push people's buttons unless it's for the intention of ultimately making them feel good. Or unless I'm protecting my space. If I protect my space, then I'll neutralize. And if they're being totally unreasonable and damaging the experience of my viewers, then I protect the experience of my viewers. They don't need to see that damaging stuff. They need to see a strong person stand up to someone's hate and so on. Michael Costa, make her think as if she's winning. It's great, man. Cool. All right. Let's see. No comments over here. Am I streaming on Facebook? Yeah. Let's see. Any comments here on Any comments here on Facebook? Steve Balaban, interesting, but gotta run. Yeah. Thanks for telling me, Steve. Well, come back. Come back now, you hear? All right. Notes. Yeah. A lot of people coming in and out on this. Let me know what you think about this. Leave a comment. Where are we? Yeah, the only men who disagree with me are they're trying to get with you. And a lot of the theme of this lecture and the previous lecture on silent flute was about haters. Locate good early memories of women. This is what I was talking about. And I'm not going to regress you right now. There's a way of talking that I could help you go back earlier and clearly see your early relationships with women. This changes things. When you see it and you describe it to yourself, you will see why you're into the kinds of activities you're into when it comes to trying to court women. When you're courting women, you're chasing an archetype in your subconscious that has to do with your early childhood relationships with that high-pitched, softer gender, the fairer gender, the one that grandma was clearly different from grandma on some, grandma was definitely different from grandpa in some way. Mom was definitely different from dad in some ways. Early childhood. What was that like? And then move a little bit forward and you see a lot. You'll see a lot in your own habits. This is something I've done in the last 24 to 36 hours that has just, uprooted so much. Okay, yeah. I used to think, this is powerful when I heard this said, I used to think when another man is hurting the woman that I love, I wanted to kill that man. I was like, fuck yeah, I did. I remember guys with my sister. I remember guys with my mom. I remember thinking, like, if I could just end him, then they wouldn't need to suffer anymore. And, I think about this, and that's why I, as a code, this is part of the philosophy of love, because love is conditional. There's an unconditional love of one's experience of life. And then there's the romantic love, which has to do with the mature love is, what does this do for my future? This is what I went over in part 1. What does this do for our future? What are we making here? What's our creation child? And let me see how I say this. I know what the other man is trying to do to you. Whatever angle he's taking, I know what his agenda is. You are unaware of his sexual energy towards you because you've been conditioned to think that men and women are equal. You don't feel it towards him, and you're projecting that on him, and you think he doesn't feel it towards you, and he's found all kinds of beta casual behaviors to talk to you, so it's not threatening, but he'll get away with saying things like love, talking to you like you're love. He'll call you the noun love, like, hey, love. He'll say things that, for a man that strategizes how to seduce women, that strategizes how to get with women, I'm examining everything I say from the perspective of, is this going to move her closer to getting with me or less to getting with me? And I'm telling you that man over there, he's messaging you things that are trying to get with you, because I would take some of those techniques and I would use them in a different context. He's doing it in a creepy way that's directly hitting on you, and you don't see it because you've learned to tolerate it. You've learned to expect it, because all men are cheesy, soapbox, wussy in their seduction, supplicating to the woman, and trying to admire her, compliment her before she's done anything worth complimenting her for her genetics or whatever, outside of like something really exotic. I mean, a girl has multicolored eyes. I mean, even there you say nothing, because every man has said something about that. Every man. You maybe find a creative way to say it, you know. I always wanted multicolored eyes, and I wondered what the experience of life would be like. Do you think I should get fake contacts? I don't know. This is what I came up with. That would be an interesting first liner to someone with multicolored eyes, instead of, I like your eyes. Your eyes look cool. Okay. It's like, how about some dick? They're saying, hey, how about some dick? Like, you know. Okay. Moving on. Wait, I don't want you talking to that man. I don't want, he's messaging you. You're going to message him back. It's an off code, because that man is trying to get with you, and he wants you in a way that I don't want him to want you. All the men who are talking to you do. There are maybe a few exceptions that keep professional. I keep professional with certain women. You can keep it professional. Be aware as you can be, and take responsibility when you make mistakes. It's important as a man, especially as a masculine man who's embodying your masculinity. Don't make that mistake of not making the distinction. Money makes someone a gender neutral. That doesn't mean that there can't be this or can't be that. There can't be friendship, there can't be romance, there can't be whatever. And I'm not saying that it's impossible for men and women to physically be friends. I'm saying it's impossible to be friends without one of them having the energy of wanting to mate. That doesn't mean they ever have to. But that is the energy that pulls men and women together, because truth be told, men are much better friends with men. They're loyal. And truth be told, women are much safer being friends with women. They're going to have a lot of friends, because all the men are trying to get with you. It's very rare. You have to find a very strong and honest man who is satisfied on sex to be more your friend. And that satisfaction in sex, there are tantric ways to reabsorb or sublimate that energy. There are tricks with the mind that, you know, self-hypnosis, things like that. So if you're on lockdown and you don't have an abundance of women, there's ways to harvest that energy in that, you know, doesn't need to come out as a neediness towards her. But of course, all men are going to be affected during lockdown. Things are opening up now. So I definitely recommend get out there, talk to as many people, and, you know, be friendly. Okay. Wrapping this up here. Start seeing yourself as a miseducated human being. I already said that. Do you know I'm not trying to fuck you over? This is something that I wish in past relationships I had said that. Do you know that I'm not trying to fuck you over? Because I'm not trying to fuck you over. Does she know that you're not trying to fuck her over? I'm not trying to fuck you over in the short term, in the long term, in the middle term. And you as a man need to be that kind of man that's not trying to fuck her over. Don't lead her on into thinking. Men lead her on into committing more. They'll pretend that they commit more. Women lead them on into thinking that they'll do sex or sexual things with them. They'll deny it, but that's what you're doing. You know that, women. You're leading him on, and you need to know you don't even know to what degree, to what level. Until you become a man like me that has a girlfriend and you start seeing the things that she's doing that is IOIing, indicating interest in other men, and you see how those other men are subconsciously responding. She's pulling them in with her behavior, not knowing that she's IOIing guys, indications of interest. So it's hacking the genetics. The code, the body is moving towards, and they become problems. Other men become problems for your man, because that becomes a problem of disloyalty. She will threaten her loyalty by talking with other men, and that threatens your creation. And so what kind of mother quality is that? You want that to be the mother of your children, that she'll threaten disloyalty when there's disagreement or conflict? So you got to look through that lens, but then also have patience. Like I said with Marcus Aurelius teaching in the last lecture, you either live with them or you teach them. And you teach them by showing them the right ways in the right way. You teach them the right ways in the right ways. Communicate in the right way to get the message across. And, you know, don't lose control of your emotions. So last few bullet points here. This quote is from Manu Tupou: milk the ecstasy of the moment. So you milk the ecstasy of the moment so that when the woman sees you, she sees you in joy. You got to milk the ecstasy. I gave a really powerful process in the silent flute lecture just last hour for milking the ecstasy. DC, Megan, you were there. Other people who were there. I don't know who's on Instagram. It doesn't tell me. So that process of how you talk to your mind milks the ecstasy of what's happening present time, so that when your lover, your partner, your romance, your whoever meets you, even if you're going for a job interview or whatever, when they meet you, they see you in joy. You find joy in your mind. You milk the ecstasy of the moment. That's all I can tell you about, because that teaching is reserved. But how can you milk the moment right now? It doesn't just mean slowing down. It means milking the moment. And if it makes sense, this is law of attraction. I love this shit because I have just been going left and right, and I am taking more and more responsibility for what I'm creating. That my life is a goddamn effect of everything I've created, and I take responsibility for this. And yeah, it doesn't mean that it's not struggle sometimes, it's not suffering, but you take responsibility. If it makes sense now, listen, if you're creating a relationship and it makes sense to you, it's okay. Because if you keep creating, in 5 years from now, it's going to make sense why it made sense. 5 years from now, it will make more sense why it made sense. Whatever you're doing with pickup or relationships or your personal development study, 5 years from now, it will make more sense why it made sense now. And the relationship should be looked at like that, because I'm picking up relationships. These are long-term things, maybe lifetime things. And 5 years from now, it should make more sense why it made sense 5 years ago. But it's on you as a man, I think, to create the sense. Make it make sense. Don't let nature make it make sense for you. That's stupid. That's animal. When you let nature make it make sense, you're God. You can think and project into the future. You're going to let nature know. You create the sense. Make the logic of your relationship. Make it work. She follows. If she doesn't follow, she doesn't follow. You keep creating until you get tired of her. If she's worth it, you keep doing it. If she's not, you stop. At some point, the things will flip. She's aging like milk. You're aging like wine. It's going to crisscross. And you keep increasing your value as a man, and you learn to trust loyalty, because that shit is easy on your heart. I can deal with her problems, no problem. Her problems are no problem. My only problem is her loyalty and her disrespect. But even that, I'm learning to drop disrespect, because disrespect is how she learned to communicate with other men. So as long as she's not talking with other men, it's really the loyalty thing. Because do we know any loyal women? I know, I see a loyal woman here. I see loyal women. It's okay for a woman to have a different male teacher if her man is okay with that. If her man is not okay with that, I mean, there needs to be communication there, because that's going to create a problem that I'll get in the middle of. You'll put me in the middle of it. I've been in that situation where the husband didn't want it anymore. The wife wanted to keep learning from me, blah, 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 blah. So what are their motives? So it'll make more sense 5 years from now. So keep creating, stay persistent. You'll be amazed at what you create. You'd be amazed at, you come to the silent flute and I'll teach you law of attraction. You'll be amazed at you're not fully perceiving time and the lag of time. And if you had a better perception of time lag, then you would have less frustration about your creation. Last thing, what you want, this is the penultimate conclusion of the silent flute lecture also, and it's the conclusion of this lecture here, the philosophy of love part 2. What you want a lot of times, most of the time, if not all the time right now, until you wake up more and more and more, what you want is not really what you want. It has to do with other people's opinions about you. What you want has to do with other people's opinions. You think so-and-so is going to like it, so-and-so is going to improve, they're going to support you, they're going to applaud you, they're going to be there for you if you do this. It's okay just know when that's happening, because you're in denial if you are like me. And I think you're listening to me because you're following the thought train. And if you follow the thought train day in and day out, because I broadcast a lot, then you should be ascending pretty fast and you should be up to speed and we should be doing business together. But if you're still ascending, then just listen up. You're doing a lot of what you're doing because other people's opinions matter too much to you. Because other people's opinions, when you change in the way you want to change, like when I shave my goatee, The hesitation is, I won't look good. To who? To who? Who do I care who I don't look? Now, I think I look like an alien right now, and I probably need to get a face tattoo or something. I don't know, draw some chops. I can see some chops right there. That'd be dope, actually. Zing, zing. Yeah, I might do that. Sculpt the corner of my chin. But it was caring about other people's opinions, you know? And when it comes to your relationship, how much are you holding on to her because you care about another person's opinion? Because you don't want all the guys in her life to say, see, he was that way. No, fuck their opinions. I'm going to get her in the end because I want her that bad. When you also, that's the other thing, the superpower comes. When you realize how much you're doing it in disregard of other people's opinions, that's where your power is as a man. That's what they don't want you to know. Do it because you want her. Don't let any man tell you, this is a deep lesson I'm waking up to right now. Don't let any man tell you that it's chumpy to do it that way. I can say beta behavior, this and that, and you're going to evolve as you evolve. If it's worth it to you, do it. As long as you're not hurting another human being, willingly, like trying to hurt. I mean, we all hurt each other with our interactions, but don't mistake that kind of hurt for like the intention to hurt and the just dumb blindness to like physically hurting somebody or whatever. Like, I didn't know I was hurting him. Like, you're crying. Like, what are you talking about? Like, okay. So, and again, it goes back to emotional control. You got to get control of your emotions and mind. This is my journey as well. I'm on the journey too. And the more interactions with females, the more interactions with money, the more interactions with responsibility over people, taking care of people, the more pressures of life bring out in you the hero of your life. There's no choice. There is no choice. You're going to be the hero of whatever storyline you make. And sometimes it's a sad, sorry hero, like that is pathetic hero, or it could be a glorious hero that's remembered forever, like Marcus Aurelius. So how do you get control of that is in the silent flute. I check that you get control of that. Go to ninthlimb.com and sign up for the silent flute. I'll see what kind of notes we have here. Michael Costa, do you mean milking the good feeling they want? No, milking the moment. The moment is inside your experience. You experience the moment. You milk the moment. And if they're in your experience, then you milk the moment with them, like with them in your experience. But you're not milking the good feeling they want. I'm not milking them for good feelings. You can kind of think that. I don't think that's the most inaccurate thing to say. You are trying to bring out good feelings. I don't think of it as milking them. I'm milking the moment. Milking something means depleting it of something so it can fill up again. It's kind of a interesting word. Milking the moment means find your contentment in the moment with whatever's happening and let it show. And how you do that is you got to recognize your mind for what it is. It's a subtle body machine. It's invisible, but you can see it with your inner eye. And sometimes you might think with your outer eyes too. You see it. And you got to learn to identify the mind so that you can integrate it and milk the moment, because the mind is filled with the sensory experiences of the moment. And you got to locate those and integrate those. You look fresh as fuck, brother. Yeah. All right. Let's see. Any Facebook comments here? What's going on here? Same one comment. All right. Thanks. If you like this, share it. If you're seeing it online, comment, subscribe. Go to the Silent Flute if you want more on the technology of the techniques of how to do this stuff. This is the Philosophy of Love Lecture Part 2. Also, all the Philosophy of Love lectures will be in the Silent Flute, so you can catch all of those. And I'll see you every Tuesday, 5 p.m. Pacific.